What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Atheist Roundtable. And we have another fun night ahead of us here. And we have a few interesting guests that are going to join us here in a minute. But before we do that, we have our first ever Ultimate Debate Championship coming up. That's March 20th. And right now I'm looking for people that want to be a judge or be a ref/mod. And if you're interested, email me at Austin. Email me. The email address is austin@tart.live, and I'd love to have your help. And it's going to be an exciting event. I'm pumped. We got a bunch of great people involved in as far as the debaters, and we're gonna kick some ass there that day. And then this Saturday we have T-Jump and Matt Adams. And there'll be another debate night here at TART, and so join us then as the Jumpster comes back to the round table. And I also want to make sure that everybody, if you haven't checked out the episodes of Atheist Pizza, it's getting a lot of good feedback, a lot of good traction. And if you would like to be a part of that, we would love, we'll talk to anybody, but really we want to sit down with theists, but we'll sit down and chop it up with atheists as well. And we take care of the food, and if we need to get you gas money or whatever, make sure you can get there. We want to make sure that those that want to be a part can be a part. And we'd love to invite you to do that. So if you're interested, you can either email Pasta Mike at thepastamike@gmail.com or myself at austin@tart.live. And we'll get you a date set, and we'll make it happen. So I don't think I'm wasting more time, guys. I'm excited for our guest tonight, and the first part of the conversation is going to be it's going to be interesting and fun, and you're going to meet some new friends of the Atheist Roundtable.
Hey, Oz.
Brainbug, what's up, man?
Just sitting here playing with a bug while you're talking about the debates. That's going to be freaking awesome. And I'm enjoying the pizza too. Watching you guys sit down and talk. I'm the one who I was in the chat, and I was like, Giordano's, man. Giordano's. Yeah. I don't go to the Chicago area without going to Giordano's.
Yeah, and what's awesome, and we've been waiting for the wait time to go down. We're in Fort Wayne, and they just built one here and opened it, but you got to wait it's like 4 hours to get your pizza. So it's like, we've had it before. Let's let all the people that never had it before, get theirs, and we'll get it later. But no, I agree. Giordano's is some of the best damn pizza I've ever had in my life.
Chicago style.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. But
And
how you doing?
we're not being paid by Giordano's either. We're just it's
No,
that good.
but Giordano's, if you want if you want to pay Brainbug and I to promote your brand, we will definitely do that. And all you gotta do is pay us some pizza. Like we don't even need money.
I'll pay for pizza.
So Brainbug, how you been, man?
I've been doing all right. I guess I've been stirring things up a little bit. Seems that people are really interested in watching me argue with people. So I've been kind of busy doing that. You know, I got into it with everybody's favorite precept apologist Darth Dawkins over there on the Perspective, which I'm on every other Tuesday. So if you aren't subscribed over there, check it out. We have some fun. We take some calls. Last night, Kenneth Leonard and Jenna Belk were on there, and they knocked it out of the park. But then there's this situation with old Matt Powell. So yeah, he challenged me to a debate, and then
back down.
Right, as soon as I started talking about the topics that we could go over, and then other than that, I don't know. I've got to, and there's some. Not all apologists are insufferable. I had a nice discussion with Otangelo. Most people, have a hard time with that, but I can talk to Otangelo. I also talked to a gentleman named Music Analyst here recently, and he's a bit of a character too. But yeah.
I just met him about a week or two ago, and I'd watched him once or twice on Modern Day Debates, and yeah, he was great to talk to, but definitely, like you said, interesting fellow. Would be a
some interesting ideas he has there.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agreed. But before we talk about our friends here that are joining you, Brainbug, why don't you tell everybody that's here with us right now where they can find you, what you have planned coming up, what's going on with you?
Okay, so my channel is Brainbug. My name is Brian, and we use bugs to learn science and counter some pseudoscience. I've been doing this for about a year now. I'm mainly on YouTube. I'm active on Twitter and Instagram a little bit, and actually on Reddit. if I get a wild hair and want to start exploring that dark recess, but I love phylogeny and insects and biology. I'm working towards going to school for ecology, so it's a passion of mine. And I come to find out people are interested in looking at bugs and learning about bugs. People love to see animals live. So I used to do live bug shows. I may get back into that once we're off quarantine, but for right now, I'm doing most of my stuff online. I do all kinds of wide variety of stuff. I do the videos again, debunking pseudoscience and stuff like that. But I also do educational videos on the insects and arachnids, and I will do rehousing videos, unboxing videos, all kinds of fun stuff. You never know what we're going to get into, but it's usually bug related. And if you're not subscribed, pop on over. Just recently hit 400. I hope to keep up that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys are not, thank you, IQ. IQ just put the link for Brainbug's YouTube there in the channel. Go subscribe. It's not all bugs. I'll tell you that. Even if you don't like bugs, there's still plenty of things that Brian talks about there, and they cover a multitude of different topics and subjects. So go follow, and you'll be happy you did it. Good stuff over there. So.
Absolutely. I talk about mostly it's a big love of animals. Bugs are just the easiest ones for me to keep in the mass variety that I like to, because I don't ever do anything 10% or 20%. I always do everything 100%. When I started playing music, I didn't just pick up a guitar and I'm going to play guitar. No, I have banjo and a mandolin and learned all these different instruments because I like to go all in on exploring anything, whether it's music, insects. I'm also a cinephile, so I love movies. I've got a wide assortment of plants as well. So
Okay.
I'm a big nerd, and I go all in on everything.
No, the one part I can definitely relate to that is I am the type, like, once I find something that does pique my interest, there is no, like, let's just do it like 50% and see if I like it.
Yeah.
It's 100 miles an hour in 2 seconds, and I go after it, every single day. And that's really how YouTube for me started, even before I met Pasta Mike and the other guys. Was I started my apartment. I was like, man, I really enjoy this, and I had no idea that there's this huge community out here, right? And I just dove into it, and then right place, right time, met the right people, and it was like, damn, look at all these other people that do this and love doing this too. So
I'm glad you did. Your all shows that got a lot of energy. I think that may have been kind of missing from the community, because we argue with people about epistemology and stuff like that. It can still be fun. It can still be like an event. We can treat this like that's what you do. You treat it like kind of like a sporting event. Like it's it makes it exciting. Love it.
Well, and we do appreciate that. And we do have the episodes that are, like last night I did have a one-on-one with an apologist. We'll have those episodes, but life is very short. So let's talk about the serious things, but let's also take a break and have fun. Let's enjoy what we're doing and have a blast while we're doing it, and enjoy all the badass people we have around us, right? And hang out with them and get to know
not
more
just people. Check this guy out. Yeah. There's so much to this world to take in. Let's just dive in. There's so much to experience. This is, by the way, most of my people that came here follow me probably know, but this is one of my Asian giant mantises. I've got 5 of these up here. They're about half grown right now, so they will get a little bit bigger. And every continent, just to clarify, every continent claims they have the biggest mantises. So what I am doing is taking a example of each one, and each season I'm raising a new one. Now I had these ones. I guess you can't see it on this the way I got it cut, but I had a different an African giant mantis. It's too high. It's out of frame. Sorry, but I had an African giant mantis. And these ones are already as big or almost as big as they were. So I'm hoping that these ones get a lot bigger. I think next time I'm going to go with what Australia boasts is the biggest mantis in the world, because like I said, every continent except for North America for some reason says they have the biggest. So we're going to find out.
So then I have to ask the question on your like on your your Facebook profile picture, you have that big one right by your face.
Yes.
Is that one of those that you have now?
No, that's actually a Chinese mantis, and they're either Asian, so from Asia too. But the Chinese mantis is usually longer, but slimmer generally. But I say that, and I caught it here in Illinois, so they're invasive, and they're very they have a very stable population, and they do very well in populated areas because they come from Southeast Asia. So that's where all the people are. So they're really adapted to living among people. Whereas the ones that were the native species over here, the grass mantises and such, were not so adept to dealing with the population as we colonized and industrialized the Western world. They haven't done quite as well. So in their absence as this ambush predator uses, as you can see, Oz said he couldn't even see it for a second until I started making it dance. Even on a black microphone, they're very well camouflaged, and they if you can see them a little bit, they'll do these little swaying things because they like to pretend that they're leaves. So that there's this niche to catch small flying insects, usually flies, maybe some bees and other bugs, but their diet consists of a lot of flies. That opened up, and that Chinese mantis, when we got them over here, people started importing them to be garden pest control, and they just exploded over here because they do so well in that niche. Was already the natural the natural order of things had already been disrupted, so it was wide open. And if anybody watches my stuff regularly, that's one of the things that I freaking go on and on about is niche partitioning of organisms, because that's like my favorite topic ever.
Okay. I was going to ask you about that. So I know you said each, what was it? You said each season or once a year that you have a new mantis. Like what you?
I generally buy them in the spring, but I bought these guys in the fall because COVID has messed everything up. The suppliers for this kind of stuff they got their feet back under them now for the most part. But when it first hit, because it was hard to do these transitions and trades and stuff the way that we were used to. So
okay.
The world's adjusting. So I got these in the fall, but I generally get them in the spring. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll start looking at ordering them. And what I'll do is I'll try to find my Australian giants. But if I can find some from another continent, if I can find South American or some Oceania species, that's fine too. And then I'll probably pick out something cute and pretty. Like I got the ghost mantises up here, which are a little bit smaller than this, but there's other flower mantises that I might get to. So I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to order with that, but it'll probably be something fun.
Okay. And how many in total, how many mantis do you own
right now? 8.
Okay.
I had a cat-eyed stick mantis, but it died recently. Unfortunately, it didn't die, and it died mid-molt, so I couldn't even preserve it, which is another thing that I like to do is keep them, because it really makes sure that I have an example on hand, even if I don't have a living example on hand of different clades of animals. It makes it easier to talk about them, because I can, if I'm talking about giant centipede, I can pull out a giant centipede and we can look at it without actually having to have a live one on hand. Not that I don't want a live one on hand, because I have a baby one right here that's growing up just fine. His name's Bruce. This was bought for me by one of my patrons.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, thanks Matt. Love you if you're out there watching. Yes, people buy me stuff sometimes. I also got a little baby Viculera, and this one, when it gets bigger, it's gonna be so much fun. This is gonna be one of the ones that I'm gonna get out and handle on the camera, because these ones do pretty well about that. The other things I have over here, I'm gonna put my mantis away to get them out. But you ready to get out some bugs, Oz?
Yep. But one second. We have a question in the chat, and then I have one, and then we'll jump into it. So,
all right.
Secular Rarity had a question. How much do these bugs cost? I have literally no frame of reference for this.
Okay. So mantises are not expensive. Mantises, well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't generalize. These mantises are not expensive. What's expensive, can get expensive is setting up the care for them. So, because when you buy mantises have their reproductive lifestyle is was it K strategy? I might have that backwards. It's either K or R strategy. Anyway, they produce a whole bunch of offspring because there's a high mortality rate. So these ones, you buy them little, and they're about between, depending on the season, between $9 and like $30. So depending on the season, depending on the size, mantises have a set number of molts that they go through in their life cycle. It's 7 for the males and 9 for the females. And once that's done, they don't have much time left after that. So you're buying a pet that's only going to live, depending on the species, between 8 and 24 months. Now, if you can successfully breed them and produce offspring, then you've created profit for yourself, but you got to get the babies through those first couple of instars, because nobody really is going to want to buy something that's generally lower than an L2, which is the second stage of life. But depending on how much bigger they are, the price of them kind of peaks and then drops back down as they get older. So hope that answers the question about the mantises. But each group of arthropods is going to have its own special stipulations. There are mantises that go for hundreds of dollars. So depending on species, I would love to dive into that someday, but not there yet. I'll work with what I can feasibly do. Now, I do not to say that I don't have things in here that cost way too much money that I shouldn't have been spending. But it's an addiction. It really is. I'm addicted to creepy crawlies.
Well, you know what? It's better in, like, I always say that doing this, creating not just when we're live, but all the things that go on behind scenes, like that's my hobby, my guilty pleasure, addiction, whatever you want to call it. Better that, or bugs or reptiles or whatever animal, than being strung out somewhere. So
right.
It's better.
It's a healthy addiction within moderation, of course. It's a healthy addiction.
Everything's within moderation.
Right.
So, did you put the little guy back?
Yeah, he's right here. I'll probably get him back out after we're done with this, and when we do like the Q&A and stuff, I'll get him back out. But
yeah, when you get him back out, I'm gonna play a little music so he can dance. So so everybody can see him dance. So which friend did you want to bring out first, Brian?
Well, how about we start with this guy, because this is a native to the United States. This is a Orthopus desert millipede is what the common name for it is. This one is about it's probably somewhere between 5 and 6 inches long when it's laid out straight. They're really easy to care for. So anybody wanting to get into like a hobby of having pet invertebrates, these are a good start. My friend Walker, Just a Walking Fish, is his YouTube channel. He does evolution videos too. He actually got a millipede on my recommendation, and he's really loving it. And if anybody has his link, drop that in the chat too, because he's way undersubbed. But these are part of the desert Southwest biome. Millipedes are detrivores, which means they eat like the waste and foliage on the ground. I feed mine. These basically get what's left over on the cutting board after cutting up veggies for dinner. I do actually have gourds and pumpkins that I purchased over the fall season at the flower shop. When after Halloween was over, they kind of drop in price, so I can get a whole bunch of them because they do really well in like dry storage. So I can keep those in the back of the basement, and then guys like these, and I have some giant hissing cockroaches back here, and then my feeder bugs. They all enjoy eating that kind of stuff. So when it comes to feeding these, they're easy to take care of. You don't, unlike getting a spider or another kind of arachnid or predatory, you don't have to worry about buying feeder insects for them, because you just feed them what's left over on that cutting board. Look at it in his head up in the air right there. And these ones are just they're just fun to watch when they get to be energetic and exploring their environment. Now, these are not they're herbivores, so they don't bite. You don't have to worry about them biting. They are poisonous, but obviously you aren't going to want to eat it. But they can do if you pick them up wrong, they'll do a secretion on you. Different species are going to have. It's going to have different effects. It can stain your skin. It can make you itch. It can make you a little bit, make a sore spot on you, depending on which species you're handling. So always be aware of allergies and stuff before you go picking up any millipede that you see in the wild. But once you do get it safely picked up, just remember to mail that to me. I'm going to get a PO box set up so that everybody can send me all their bugs. That last part.
Awesome.
That last part was a joke, but
Well, no. Well, I'll send you the bugs, Brian.
yeah. Send me all the bugs. Yeah, I love when like this during the summer months when like the beetles and stuff start to propagate and grow. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is hold on, come on, buddy. There you go. I talk to him like I'm talking to like a puppy.
You should, absolutely.
And this
is
my Arizona blonde.
Yeah.
And she is on the move. She's been kind of like that ever since we got kind of over the cold snap, because I think she was like in a hibernative state. And now she's ready. She feels like it's spring and she's ready to get up and get moving. Handling spiders is pretty simple. You just you let them walk on you. You don't ever grab at them. You can grab a tarantula. There's a specific way to get a hold of it, but I don't recommend doing it, because if you don't do it just right, you can actually hurt your arachnid. Nobody wants to do that. That's not the goal of handling them. Actually, my very first spider that I ever got when I was like 18, I dropped it. And it cracked open its side and killed it, and took me 10 more years before I ever got another spider again. This is also a species that's found in the U.S. As its name implies, it's found in Arizona, but not just Arizona. It's found in Mexico and I believe parts of New Mexico and into Texas. I don't know if it's found as far west as California. It gets into some competition with some other species in that area. So these ones do really well in a desert environment, not quite as much as the Chilean rosehair, which lives in the Atacama Desert, which is the driest place on Earth. So the Chilean rosehair tarantulas, they do really, really well in a dry environment. So do these guys, of course. But again, it's going to be with a arachnid. You do, even if they're a desert species, and the same goes for the millipede for that matter. If they're a desert species, you do need to make sure that they got access to water if they need it. Most of them get the water from their food. Taking care of these fellas is this is a New World tarantula. So tarantulas are kind of like monkeys that way. They're divided into New World and Old World clades. The New World ones, for the most part, everything has exceptions. All the ones that you can handle are going to be New World tarantulas, and this is one of those clades that just they're docile, and it does tend to be the desert species that are more handleable. This stripy boy I got back here is actually New World too, but it's from South America. And this giant that I have over here, and you actually kind of see her. Blow me back up again. See if while you can see her. She's a monster, though. I mean, you think this one's big?
Holy shit!
This lady back here is her legs would. I got pretty large hands, but yeah, her legs would.
I can see that thing from here.
Yeah, she's a beast. That's Penny, and she's my LP Lasiodora parabana. They are giant bird eaters. So these ones are the third largest species of spider in the world, after the Theraphosa, which is the Goliath bird eaters. The blonde Theraphosa blondi is the Latin name for that. And then there is also these giant huntsman spiders. The Latin names escaping me, and you'll hear me say Latin names a lot. And again, I'm not trying to dazzle anybody with language. I'm trying to normalize binomial nomenclature, because that's a better method of classifying things than the colloquial names. So I'll give the common name for it, but I'll give the Latin name for it too, just out of education purposes, or for education purposes, because I want everybody to be normalized to that. But I digress. I get off on a tangent and forget where I was going. So the this Huntsman Spider that's native to Laos has a huge leg span, or leg spans. It's the second biggest, but then we have these big monsters right here. And this one, it's looking like it's female, so that means it's going to live for a really long time. Tarantulas, see me get all excited because I want to hold on to them and keep them for as long as possible. So tarantulas, the males will live about a quarter to a third of the lifespan of the female, and they do tend to live a riskier lifestyle because they go out and seek her out once a year. And I grew up in Missouri, in southern Missouri. Once a year, there's this tarantula season where you'll see all these big tarantulas. These are the Texas brown tarantulas in Missouri, but you'll see them going across the road, the males looking for the females. They go on this long trek. And once they find her and mate with her, there's a good chance she's going to try to eat them. So their life is a short and hard and fast and kind of awesome, whereas the female's life is mostly sitting back in her burrow, waiting for food. And then when the male comes, if he doesn't knock on her door just the right way, he's food. You'll watch all spiders will have some sort of either a dance or some sort of mating ritual that they do. A lot of the times with tarantulas, it's like a knocking on her web in a certain pattern. And each species has its own unique, and it goes beyond that. There's dialects between different subpopulations. So that's as far as evolution goes. That's that's behavioral evolution that we can observe today. And it's the same with like birds. There's birds with different dialects. There's frogs with different dialects across their range. Tyler Brewer asked a question. Can I grab it real quick?
Oh yeah, I'll pull it up. Nope, that's not it. Every time I go to hit it, it always moves up. That's what she said. Can Brainbug explain arachnophobia?
Yes. Okay. It's the same thing as the fear of snakes. These are evolutionary things as well that apparently me and Oz have bypassed because we love reptiles and arthropods. But generally speaking, you're at a better advantage. If anything with more than 4 legs that you see, you automatically assume that it's venomous and is something you don't want to touch, and you don't want to touch you. That aversion and repulsion that you feel is something that has been passed down through your genes from your ancestors as a survival mechanism, because the person who stuck their finger in the black widow's web didn't propagate their genes to pass that on. As we remove ourselves, of course, from for the most part, from the pressures of natural selection, we can look at these things from the outside and kind of learn how and why these kind of aversions of develop and explore that. And they've actually done experiments with gorillas, not with spiders, but with snakes, that if a gorilla that's never seen a snake, a gorilla that's never been exposed to a snake at all, if they put a rubber snake in its thing or in its enclosure, it will avoid it. It'll be scared of it. It's just these natural aversions that we develop and we pass down to our offspring, and it's fantastic. It's amazing. You know what? I think it's time for Oz's favorite and my recent favorite little visitor. I got a
yay.
Oh, is she gonna be feisty or come on?
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully she's feisty.
Well, she doesn't like being in this clear container. None of them like being in that because they feel like the ground is moving underneath them. There you go, Oz.
Hold on, I gotta get this close up. Hold on. Yeah.
This is my juvenile emperor scorpion. You can tell she's a juvenile because she's got that white stinger, which is called a telson. This is a telson back here. They have smaller tails, as you can see with this species, it's kind of, I know I say it's small and it takes up half its body, but how narrow it is and how almost, I don't want to say it's atrophied, but there's almost that impression that you get from it. And that is based on her having these huge claws for crushing her prey. So she doesn't need her stinger to catch her prey or to dispatch her prey, because she can crush them with her claws. So the stinger is basically a predator defense. So they'll use that as a last measure, and that makes this species incredibly docile. I have a more aggressive and much larger Asian forest scorpion over here that I got at the same time, because people will market these Asian forest scorpions as emperor scorpions and jack up the prices, because it's a difference between the Asian forest scorpion costs $20, whereas emperor scorpions run around 70 to 150. So
you said that one was how old?
This one, it's a juvenile.
So juvenile, is that why it's running around like crazy? Because I have juvenile children, and that's what I see, is like they're everywhere.
Well, these are fossorial. Most scorpions are fossorial, which means they prefer to be underground. So anytime it's out, it's gonna they're gonna get a little anxiety. And that goes for most tarantulas too. They live in their little burrows and don't engage much with the outside world. But if you get them out, they do go crazy. So they are like kids out of school, kind of.
So it's like Murdershed Steve.
Yeah.
Right. Got it.
So this Oz told me that scorpions were his favorite. He's all about the scorpions. I did, and this kind of sucks, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I was not going to say anything, but I did set up I went out and bought I have a big bar blacklight back here. I went out and bought a blacklight bulb so I could have it right here on the desk, and I left it in my car. And my son, who just got his license a couple of weeks ago and his first job a couple of weeks ago, is at his job tonight, and I left the bulb in the vehicle, so we weren't able to see it fluoresce. Scorpions fluorescing is pretty cool. There's some harvestmen, daddy long legs is a common name for them, that fluoresce as well. I actually have one back in this tank behind me. It's as part of my cleanup crew, but that's where they glow under the black light. It's in their exoskeleton. It's fluorescent activated. We're really just starting to understand it and discern what it is, but we have learned over the last few years that putting scorpions under a black light, while it looks really cool, it's not exactly good for them, and long-term exposure can cause blindness. So if you get a scorpion, a lot of times they'll have the black lights in this section of the pet store with them, and saying they call them scorpion lights and stuff. If you get one of those, I'm not saying you can't get one, but do not leave it on from, you want to make a video, put the scorpion under the light and make the video. But once the video's done, you turn that light off, or you're going to blind your arachnid. And they can live fine without being able to see, but why? Why would you, knowing that that's going to have that negative effect, why would you do that? So, take pictures, make your little video, but then turn the light off. Thing about scorpions, a lot of people don't see that people will often point out about tarantulas is how hairy they are compared to like insects and stuff. Now tarantulas, it's more obvious, but scorpions have hair too. They're not really hairs. They're seta. It's kind of an analog, but they're a lot different than our hair because they have they're connected to sensory nerves. Now we do have some sensory nerves in our hair, like how your hair stands up in the back of your neck, but it's nothing compared to what you see in seta. They can detect so much about their environment, and scorpions in particular have seta on their claws and on their limbs for navigating their underground tunnels. Another thing that scorpions have that helps them, because they're mostly nocturnal and don't use their eyes at all, is they have sensory organs on their underside that look kind of like like bristly little brushes, but they have chemoreceptors. So if there's no mistake, the scorpion knows it's on a person's hand. Because it can taste me with its stomach. It tastes me. Isn't that crazy?
Very interesting. And we did have a question for you in the chat, but real quick so everybody can see it, because I do love this about the scorpions. If the overlay just right there, you can see that that's pretty close to what you see if you have that real life experience.
And this one will do that too. And see, this is a good, see the tail on this one, how small its hands are, its claws. That one is going to be more venomous. Betting that's it's hard to tell when it's fluorescent, but I'm guessing that might be a bark scorpion.
And I learned that today in my research, is the smaller the claws, the more poison there is in the tail.
Right. But the tail will be fatter too, generally. Yeah. And there's kind of an intermediate area between there too. But for the most part, that's a good rule to follow. Of course, obviously the best rule to follow is unless you know what you're doing with it, don't handle or interact with a wild scorpion at all, so that you don't have to worry about it. But the problem people have with scorpions, and like I was talking about how this one is staying on the move because it's out. It's looking for a place to hide, and they will hide just about anywhere. And one of their favorite places to hide. Any ideas, Oz?
Anywhere dark.
In a shoe.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah, I remember stories of that down in like Arizona.
Yeah. You put your shoes upside down, and you tap them out because actually, Mama Atheist got stung by a bark scorpion a few years back. She was talking to me about. I'm probably going to have her on sometime to explain that experience because I've never been stung by a scorpion. I say that right now. I'm tempting fate.
Well, I'm going to throw this question up here real quick so I don't forget. Brainbug, I've heard the old lobsters are sea bugs. How much truth is there in that?
So in nested cladistics, crustaceans and insects are they're clade together, whereas like the arachnids are Ancella serrata with horseshoe crabs and Eurypterids, which were giant sea invertebrates, aquatic invertebrates. Insects and crustaceans are classed together in a similar fashion. But the word bug, and I talked to a few different people about this, including entomologists who have bug in their name as well. And we all agree that bug is a colloquial term, which applies to, as a colloquial term, can apply to any terrestrial arthropod. So calling other arthropods sea bugs could be a misnomer, but bug is such a loose term. Now there is a class of insects called that are called true bugs. It includes like leaf hoppers and stuff like that. But in assassin bugs, which I freaking love. We got to talk about assassin bugs sometimes. Maybe I'll get some of those this time around too. But I digress. But generally when you're talking about those, you'll say true bugs because even other insects are not necessarily bugs by the technical sense.
No, great question and a great answer, and that's why Brian's here. Because if you would ask me, I'd have been like, I have no idea what you're even talking about. No, but so a couple of things going through the research and the reading and the watching of videos I did today. I do have a couple questions and more of a funny one at the end. But the one thing I did learn is, well, no, let's just start with the funny one. I think that's best. So what I learned is scorpions are what Christians like to accuse atheists of being. And that is once they go through their first phase where they like shed their scales or skin. I can never remember the name of that, but they do that. They are prone to eat babies. So are scorpions atheists by nature in eating babies, or is that just a couple of them?
Well, I've actually had a scorpion that ate all its babies. I was really disappointed. So, I would say that's a good example of immorality among an animal. But we can't apply our human moral standards to another species because they got their own standards of living. And if they think the environment is not safe enough that those babies are going to thrive and they'd have a better chance of consuming them and holding out for a opportunity when conditions are better, that's what they're going to do. When their offspring get to a certain age, and we see this even in mammals, they'll drive away their offspring because they've stopped being something that they want to take care of, something they care about, to competition for resources. So, and that depends on the species. There are no real social scorpions. That's one thing that despite being around for over 500 million years, they never did really develop as any kind of social structure. There are some species that can be kept together, like they will group together under the rock or whatever, but they have no social organization. They're not like termites or ants or anything. Okay. Scorpions, great. There's some great evolution discussion and phylogeny discussion to be had about scorpions as well. But I love ecology too. So if it's okay, I'm going to go on a little spiel about ecology. I'm going to put this guy away regarding scorpions, because scorpions kind of demonstrate, because they've been around for so long, how niche partitioning works. So niche partitioning, as I was explaining earlier, is essentially that a species will adapt to the resources available in its environment. And if something else is in that environment is also okay, if you're just going to sit there, that's fine. You're going to be crawling all over the place. I can't concentrate. Anyway, so and yeah, I talk to my bugs. Nothing
wrong with that.
So when scorpions were one of the very first animals to colonize the land, to move from the sea to land, way before mammals were even a thought. But they made this transition from land, and being that there was no competition, they just moved into every niche, and they became the alpha predators, these huge, monstrous bronto scorpions that were the size of a terrier. These are huge scorpions, and they dominated for so long. And but then, when tetrapods started moving onto land, which tetrapods are, our ancestors of all four-legged animals. We'll go with that, of four-legged vertebrates. That's what tetrapod means. Anyway, when they showed up on the scenes, they kind of pushed them out of that niche. Now they held on as like a meso predator, because they were the apex predators, and then they got supplanted by amphibians and early reptilian organisms. But they held on pretty good in this meso predator niche throughout the Carboniferous, and then kind of got pushed out of that as well when different clades of tetrapods really started competing for those smaller biomes. You want to talk about big, though? Another organism that was huge during the Carboniferous was the Arthropleura, which is a giant freaking millipede that was about the size of an American alligator. That was the biggest terrestrial arthropod that's, as far as we know, that's ever lived. They got trackways that are almost approaching 3 feet across. These are monster millipedes, but fortunately, like my millipede that we looked at a moment ago, they were mostly herbivorous. Now, early in their understanding and discovery of the species, of course, it wasn't known like that. So you'll see a lot of early pop culture depictions of them as giant centipedes, which are much different animals. It is my opinion, and I will come at me, bro, about it to anybody who has any thing to say about it, is that centipedes are the ultimate pound for pound predator on this planet. They combine the crushing constriction of like a boa constrictor with potent venom, and their legs are actually venomous. The on the centipede, the what they actually bite you with is actually their first set of legs, and it's attached to a pretty wicked venom gland. All right. This guy, super hyper. Yeah, just like one of Oz's kids, right?
Exactly. Been nonstop.
Come on. There you go. He's back in here. He ain't happy about it. So, safe and sound. And I'm going to get my Mantis back out because I like to keep a Mantis on my microphone. So,
let us know when it's dance time.
Yeah. Come on, buddy. Get up on there. If he's in the mood to dance. Let's see. He might be all danced out. You might have to get one of your brothers or sisters to come out and dance.
He's like, nah, dog.
Yeah, maybe.
We already did this shit.
Yeah, he's like, that's enough for me.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Come on. Yeah, he was all spunky at the beginning of it. There we are. Oh. There he goes.
Yeah, the Mantis dances better than Murdershed Steve. Who would have known?
Yeah, look at that. Look at the moves this little guy has. This I was doing this on some stream, and so he was awesome. Talking, and someone asked him, or someone asked another person on the stream a question. I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't listening. I was hypnotized by that Mantis. But this is it's a response to their natural environment when they're in the treetops and the branches are moving around. Yeah, they want to move into a more stable area. They want and that's why they get that little sway going. Right now, he just wants me to hold him because he's a spoiled brat. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. But they'll yeah, all right, there you go.
There he just looked like he was praising the Lord.
Yeah, he's praying. He's a praying mantis.
Hallelujah.
This is our little superstar. Ooh, that light I just got this new light, and that's not too bad. And I had an overhead light before, and it made it look terrible that close. It's a little too close right there. Yeah, these are about half grown. They'll get about twice this size. They should. But we'll see. Yeah. Subscribe to the Hive to find out. And while you're over there, of course, you can check out some of the Brainbug merchandise too. We got some cool art that was put together for my channel. We got coffee mugs and stickers and all kinds of cool stuff.
Awesome. And so if you guys like, if you love the bugs, and if you love Brian, go right now and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Do that right now. Like, I don't even care if you leave the feed right now. Just make sure you come back. Just make sure you come back after you do it. And it's been put up there. And then at the end of the show, well, Brian knows we had a funny mishap. Somehow I went live the other night, and the feed that I created for Brian's show tonight, somehow we went live on there, even though I wasn't on that feed. And so I had to recreate everything, and everything disappeared. So I'll have his stuff in the in a description afterwards. But thank you, IQ. Always.
Thanks,
always on
IQ,
point.
and good night, Kyle.
Yes. Good night, Kyle. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah. So what do you got with this debate tournament that's coming up? What do you got so far on it? Let me pick your brain for just a minute about that. Because
well, do you mean as far as people that are
who's involved?
Oh man.
Or these spoilers. I don't want to.
Well, no, I already put it out. I put a whole thing, so I'm gonna pull it up here because I don't want to speak unintelligibly here. Where'd you go? There you are. So I won't go through the whole. Well, yeah, well, because it's 16. I can go through those pretty quick. So Godless Granny, Landon Turner, which has been on our channel before. He's a theist. Captain Dadpool, Atheist Chico, Atheist Pastor, Atheist Cats. Well, that's a lot of atheists all right in a row. Siddharth, which he debated. He's debated T-Jump a few times. He is a Hindu, I believe. Megan, which is a atheist, satanic atheist, I believe. Skylar Fiction, we all know Skylar. Eddie Kroom de la Kroom. Shane, Geo Sam, Cease to Know, Just Jeff, T-Jump, and Jeff Thun. I always forget how to say his name.
Sounds like a great lineup, man. It's going to be exciting. And you're looking for people to help moderate and yeah,
so we need judges and like we're calling them refs because we're going after the fight theme, but mods essentially. So judges and mods. Yep, it's and if you want to do that, email me austin@tart.live. Love to have.
Yeah, I might be down for that. Yeah, I see some people in the live chat that I bet would be down for doing that too.
Yeah, it's a 1-day thing, so it's not like you have to make a multiple day commitment. And the other way we're doing it is we're going to have the first 2 rounds are going to be streamed on 2 different channels. That way we get through those first 2 rounds within like 2 or 3 hours. Then it's the final 4 in the championship round kind of slow down a little more and they're
y'all got like bracket graphics and stuff.
Yep. Here, I'll put this up here. It'll only take me a second. Just a second. Which I thought I already had it loaded in here, but I don't.
I'm putting you on the spot for all this stuff. I'm like, Oz, tell us about your thing. And you're like, yeah, I want to talk to you about scorpions.
No, you're good. You're doing my job for me, so I appreciate it.
Well, I'm always excited about those kind of things, the debate tournaments and stuff. I like watching debates. It's nice to see all these smaller debate platforms because for a long time it was just that that big one, and then everybody going over there, whether it was a dumpster fire or not. So I'm glad to see some of these smaller platforms getting some attention and starting to get some momentum. And a tournament like this is really going to bring some of you guys into the spotlight too. Some of them up and comers. Yeah.
Yep. So the winner is going to get. I had a custom made like championship belt made, so it's that we're not just throwing the fight theme out there and not backing it up. Like so, I'll have the belt I think on the 9th or the 10th, and we're offering a cash prize to the winner, and I think I'm up to. I'd have to go back, so don't quote me, but I'm up to like right around $600 for the winner so far, for people that wanted to sponsor and have their names, put on all the marketing stuff. But yeah, there's the bracket and everything. Yeah, it's gonna be badass.
Oh boy, yeah, this is gonna be. I already have my predictions. I do. I'm not gonna say anything though.
That's what everybody asked me. I was like, I'm not saying. I'm putting it together. I'm not saying a word.
Yeah. Yeah. I have thoughts on that bracket. I'm sure we all do, but.
So what I want to do is I know we want to talk about some counter apologetics, and there's a certain particular person thing that we want to talk about. But I want to throw it out to everybody in the chat that there's this one guy, the murderous one, that's going to join us here in a minute for a Q&A. And what I would like to do is kind of change it up a little bit and do a Q&A. And then if the murderous one wants to stick around for that last part, I would love to have Steve hang out for that. So if you guys want to start throwing your questions for Brainbug into the chat area, we'll start doing that. We'll get Steve on here in a second, and then as soon as we're done with the Q&A, then we'll chop it up on counter apologetics and some of the other stuff that Brainbug got called out, then it didn't get called out, and then the guy disappeared, and all that fun stuff. So go ahead and start putting your questions in there. We'll get to that here briefly. But no, Brainbug, thanks for bringing up the debate. That is, we're putting a lot of time, a lot of effort, energy into making that something that pops and people enjoy and have fun with and want to watch. So
yeah, it's great to put getting these events put together. Yeah, because we can't have these big conventions and stuff like everybody is used to. So it's nice to have community events that we can all participate in.
Yeah, and can you imagine once COVID's like in the past, like even though that seems fake even when I say it, but when it's in the past, that we can do something like this in person, like and it's not even a whole day, just like a half day event where it's like we come together, we spend 5 hours, 6 hours just getting to know each other, and then people debating and having fun. Like to me, that takes it to a whole nother level of badass.
I know, right? Well, I was kind of jealous you all did that. What kind of convention was that in Macon, right? Macon, Georgia. That was looked like it was a fun time. I wish I could have participated in that.
Yeah, we did have a blast out there. No, I will tell everybody, don't move to Macon. Do not move to Macon. It's Macon, Georgia's a shithole. But we did have a blast while we were down there, and it was funny because I don't know if I've ever said this live, so probably people think I'm crazy now. So I do love watching documentaries on like scorpions, tarantulas, but also like rattlesnakes, cobras, things like that. Like I love that. And then my other like weird fascination, I guess, is the criminal psychology behind serial killers. And I just trying to wrap my head around how you thought that it was okay to do what you did. And there was one I was watching / listening to while I was at the gym the other day, and they're like, the particular serial killer or whatever, he's like, well, I'm from Macon, Georgia. And I was like, well, that explains it.
That's the reason.
That explains it.
My daughter's really into that. So she just went to the library today and got a whole bunch of criminal psychology books and stuff. It's like, you're going to get us put on a list, child.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, my mom is, she's got her, crazy wackadoodle Christian background, but her secular job, as they would say, was a behavioral analyst. So I grew up around that and kind of watching people's behavioral patterns and how they do and don't respond in certain circumstances and around people groups, things like that. So it's something that's always fascinated me. But no, when I heard him say he was from Macon, Georgia, I was like, well, that explains why the whole city's a shithole. Now I get it.
I'm proud of Georgia this year, though. They really
absolutely
put stuff for us. So way to go, Georgia.
Yep.
I know that there's still shitty places in Georgia, of course. So, and that's across. Well, yeah, I'm not going to get political. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Witterson says serial killers and crawly things. This is why Oz and Steve are friends. Correct.
Yes.
I just don't have a shed that I store the bodies in.
That's what brought me here, was that they're into creepy shit. You got someone named Murdershed Steve. You're allowed to bring your creepy hobbies in.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard telling with the old Stevester. Dragons on Genesis. I'll go back and get that comment and look that up. I love that. All right. Well, here's the question I always like to ask, and typically when it's somebody's first time having a seat at the Atheist Roundtable, it's probably the most important question that you're asked the entire time you're here, your first visit. and that is Brainbug. Have you ever seen the inside of a murder shed?
I have not.
Well, hello everybody. So, a couple of years back at the Murder and Mayhem Ball, I met a guy who didn't have a nose. He was actually a serial killer, and really nasty guy. He told me, we ended up chatting for a while. He had some pretty crazy stories, mostly scentless violence. How's it going, everybody? How's it going, Brian?
How's it going?
Another day in paradise, as they say.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed my friends coming on the show today.
Well, of course. Praying mantises are actually very fascinating to me. I love the way that they sway.
Yeah.
It's very hypnotizing.
They have great sense of vision and depth, which makes them excellent predators. Nothing compared to a dragonfly, which is a crazy, phenomenal predator. But I digress. How's Steve?
Dragonflies are actually pretty apex.
Right. Yeah.
They are winning.
And as babies and as adults, they're absolutely terrifying as babies. You ever seen a baby dragonfly?
I've seen them, but I didn't know that they were all that. I thought that they were more vulnerable as babies.
No, they're generally they're an apex predator in their environment too. They'll eat tadpoles and even grown frogs. They'll eat whatever they can grab a hold of. They got these jaws that shoot out, so their jaws will actually they sit completely still, and their jaws do all the work, kind of like the mantis's raptorial arms do when it grabs its prey out of the air too. But the dragonflies, if I could raise dragonflies, it'd be awesome. Activity.
I was gonna say, I don't think that they would take that shit from you. You might find yourself on the other end of those mandibles. So I had a friend who had I believe it was an African king scorpion. Does that sound right? As a pet?
African king scorpion. See, that's where you get into the problem with using those common names. That's why I was like talking earlier about I like binomial nomenclature, because like the emperor scorpion I have here, people will call them dictator scorpions or royal scorpions, all kinds of different names.
This was back in 9th grade, so my facts might not be fully straight. It could have been an emperor scorpion. Is that it's like one of the bigger ones? Yeah,
they are from Africa. That's the one I have back. The one that I had out earlier was an emperor scorpion. It's just a juvenile, but they get a lot bigger. I got an Asian forest scorpion that looks aesthetically a lot like it. That's huge. I just didn't get it out. I did release a video today over on my channel though that has it on it, that you can see how absolutely massive it is. So if you're interested in seeing a giant scorpion, that's over there.
Well, and those ones are non-venomous, right? The emperor scorpions.
All scorpions are venomous,
or non-lethal to humans, or non-harmful.
Yeah,
right?
It's generally again, I'm not giving any kind of medical advice on this, but there are sting charts you can look at to kind of defer where you can or what level your pet is going to be at if you're looking at buying a scorpion. And always take allergies into consideration.
Right.
You're making that purchase. Did you guys see that jump?
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah. Rewind the footage now.
So I've digressed. So my buddy, because you were saying that you haven't quite gotten stung yet.
Mm-mm.
He took it upon himself to get stung on purpose several times to see how it was, and he said it was about like a wasp sting.
Yeah,
So
that's what I've heard from people who have been stung too. But I don't want to.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I got to be careful being the bug guy on the stream and saying anything about how to deal with stings or how to. Yeah, because
every case is going to be different. That's for sure, especially when you take.
You can have allergies. A bee can kill you if you have allergies to it. So,
yeah. Well, we do have some questions in the chat, so let's get that going. Atheist Mo is wondering, did you embrace this as a child? Is this a lifelong passion of yours, or is it more recent?
Well, yeah, I played with bugs as a kid. I think a lot of little boys in the area did, because I grew up in rural Missouri and there wasn't a lot else to do. I didn't it didn't continue all the way through. You know, when I was a teenager, I stopped looking at bugs and started looking at girls and stuff. But you know, as I got older, kind of got back into it. So
sure, revisiting old passions, maybe.
Yep.
And Spooky Bedhair is wondering, how often do you use your mouth as a cave for the scorpions?
Gross!
Oh, Spooky. You know that's not what I use my mouth as a cave for.
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh. We just went late night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's for the after party.
Yeah.
Which we don't do. Ox would like to know. He has one of those lollipops with a scorpion in it. If he melts the candy off, will it crawl away as if it was an ice?
No, it's dead.
It's dead.
You can eat it though; it won't hurt you. I've eaten one of those before.
I was just going to say, what are your thoughts on eating insects, etc.? Like some cultures, it's a pretty staple of their diet.
It's just Western culture that really is an aversion to it. No, I'm in favor of insect protein. I'm a big advocate of it. I think that we'll be seeing leaps in technology in that direction over the next 15 to 20 years.
And like you said, I don't want to get too political, but I think that is a reasonable and I think it's a good direction to go, considering what farming does to the environment that we're in.
Yeah, not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. And insects would be very sustainable. They're everywhere. Right. They're abundant. They're very easy to breed.
The problem is that with harvesting insect protein is just the technology's not there. We haven't invested the resources in it. If we had invested as much into insect protein industry as we had into like the poultry industry or the beef industry, there may be more viable and cheaper methods to process it. But right now, the methods they do are in their infancy, and it's not viable yet. That's the direction we're going though. So hang in there.
The other option I like is lab grown meats as well, yes. But we'll have to see how that all turns out. Eddie Kroom is wondering, well, you can ignore him if you want to. You can talk over him, really. We have huge mantis here in Arkansas. Arkansas? Can they bite? And do they really tear the male's head off after coupling?
Well, mantises can bite. I've never seen the evidence that they can break human skin. They're not that. Their jaws aren't that powerful. They can. The larger ones can scratch you with their raptorial arms, and it can leave a scratch on you. But a stag beetle can do the same thing. So and there's no venom with mantises. You're really not at any risk in dealing with them. The worst thing that happens, they fly into your hair or something.
I suppose that would be a mess for both of you.
Yeah. Now, as far as the biting the head thing off, okay, that does. So this conception of mantises and spiders in general, because spiders have this reputation too. The Black Widow comes to mind. Really stems from the same thing as like for a long time, like with wolves, there was always this idea that they had this pecking order with an alpha and beta and all that stuff. And it come to find out that a lot of those observations that those ecological rules were built on were based upon how these animals behave in captivity. And you'll see the same thing happening with spiders and mantises when it comes to the interspecific cannibalism post coitus, because the males generally can get away. Even the species with the worst reputations, the males get away more often than they're caught and eaten. So when you're making these observations in captivity in a closed vivarium, that male doesn't have any place to go after the mating's done. So that's where you end up with the cannibalism, because he can't escape. When people breed these creatures in captivity, we have to make special efforts to protect the male, and we can't always do that.
So is that to say that the female would have the desire to do so or would attempt to do so, but typically the male gets away? Or is it just kind of a circumstance of them being in captivity and maybe she gets hungry?
Well, she's always going to want to eat him after he's done with his mating. With mantises especially, his life, well, all in spiders as well, their days are numbered after that. Once they've completed that
the hunt
process,
is on.
They're done. They don't eat anymore. They don't. Well, when they reach maturity, they don't eat anymore. All they do is look for a lady to pass their seed to, and then go somewhere and die. They obviously have that will to live enough to try to escape if they can, but she's looking, once she's impregnated, she's looking for any sources of nutrients for her developing eggs. So
right,
she's all about eating anything that's within reach, and that includes him.
Interesting. What is your current insect count?
That's not a question I can answer because I have colonies. So colonies, I have I have 6 different species that live in colonies, and those colonies are self-sustaining, so I don't have a count on them, and there's no way to maintain that because they'll die and give birth and die and give birth, and so no good answer there. But as far as like individual arachnids, I could tell you. I could tell you how many tarantulas. I have 8 tarantulas, 3 scorpions, 4 leaf bugs, 8 mantises, 9 millipedes, and 1 centipede.
Some people have shoe collections like you have bug collections.
Right. Bugs are
more than they can count. You heard it here third. Can't even count. You heard it here third. Live on TART. Brian can't even count his collection.
Yeah, it's huge.
So I've got a question personally, because I've been speaking with some Muslims recently, and they're in their belief system, King Solomon is able to hear ants speaking. Can ants speak? Do they have a language?
No, ants communicate through chemoreceptors, so it's all like chemical trails and stuff.
Pheromones.
Yeah, but they're way advanced to us when it comes to sociology. So the way they communicate is superior to human communication.
Sure. I have heard that they can make at least clicking noises.
Yeah, well, yeah,
but you wouldn't
do too. But
you wouldn't consider that speech.
Yeah. No, but I hadn't heard that about King. You say it was King Solomon.
Yes, he was a prophet, and he was able to hear the ants speaking to each other.
What did they say?
They said that they had better run back into their holes and escape and get away because a giant was approaching that might crush their home. Something along those lines. I might be misquoting. I'm picking it right off the top of my head. So
It does sound like
he was able to
ants
hear.
would say so.
It does sound like something ants would say.
And it definitely sounds like something out of the Bible.
Right.
It's out of the Quran, so
Same thing.
it's pretty similar. Witterschniz is wondering, he's saying, speaking of ants like to raise various bugs to farm their syrup. Are there any other examples of agriculture in social insects that you can think of?
Okay, yeah, and I've just to elaborate on what Wittershins is talking about here is that they farm aphids like cattle because they produce a substance called honeydew from their backs, which ants love because it's sweet. But in addition to developing a domesticated livestock, ants also, you keep in mind, along with developing domesticated livestock, have been doing this for millions of years longer than humans. They also farm. So you ever see when you see the jungle scene with the ants and they're all lined up carrying leaves above their heads?
Mm-hmm.
The general concept, is these are called leafcutter ants, is that they're carrying that back as food. They're not. They're carrying it back to their nest because they farm fungus in a chamber underground, and those leaves are for the fungus to grow on. So they not only did they develop agriculture, they actually tapped into an area of agriculture that we're just marginally developing ourselves.
Well, before you know it, they're going to have religion, cities, towns, and then they're going to start murdering each other.
They already do that last one.
And I got one last question from Hornhub. Does Brian Bug's wife feed and take care of the bugs as well? Sorry, I can't say a preposition. It's not in my contract.
So no, not really. I take care of this myself. This is it's my mental illness, not hers. But the other obsessions that we do share, some obsessions like I was talking about, we have it's a jungle upstairs. The hive is downstairs in the basement. Upstairs is Ladybug's jungle. So we do take care of those plants together.
Do you ever go upstairs and just say, "It's a jungle in here"?
I do. And
Yes.
And my kids are like,
"You're a dork."
I have a well, she's almost 13-year-old daughter, so I'm just the worst and the lamest, don't you know?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes. Well, that's all the questions I have for today. Thanks for stopping by the Murdershed, where answers get questioned. The only thing that people say about me, bug related, is they say I got buggy eyes.
You know what they say? We be bugging.
We bugging.
So if we can try to make a somewhat normal transition into religion and atheism now. But well, I'll ask Steve. Steve, are you familiar with Matt Powell? You know who Matt Powell is? Oh,
Should I?
Guy. You poor guy. I want to say yes, but I'm glad that you don't.
Good.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
No, you know what? Actually, Brian, you're probably going to be much more polite and respectful than I will describing Mr. Powell. So go ahead and give Steve a little just a little description or a wrap up.
A preacher, or working towards being a preacher, I guess. Of the NFI, or was it NIFB flavor, and are you familiar with that denomination? The new.
Can I get the full name? Oh yeah,
they're the God hates F word kind of people.
The fundies of the fundies. Right
now, Matt does debates with atheists, probably among other people, but he was on like Modern Day Debate and stuff. But I was on Modern Day Debate where he kind of got infamy for. Was it on Modern Day Debate where he called for the execution of LGBTQ people?
I feel like that was a different channel, but you may be right because my memory is terrible. So you may be right.
Correct me on that, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll correct myself. But there was some platform though. They put him on a platform, and he said that. And
he definitely said it. Yeah.
And it was kind of put him on the map, I guess. He was just like run of the mill young Earth creationist apologist before that. But he it's been what 2 or 3 years back, he made this movie called Evolution Science Falsely So Called, with a terrible take on evolution. And on that movie, he interviewed a friend of mine, Nakasuchi, the Raging Atheist, and kind of cut it disingenuously, and kind of earned the reputation of cutting these interviews disingenuously. Think about like similar to what they do with the Man on the Streets quizzes, where they'll walk around and ask people questions, and you only get to see the questions that they give a stupid or silly answer to.
Right. Yeah, all that echo chamber shit.
Like a Ray Comfort kind of approach. Right. So his movie was basically that interspersed with bad science on evolution. So
I'm sure that I hear his explanations all the freaking time when I hear people talk about evolution.
He's like a Kent Hovind clone as far as his arguments. He's actually been on Kent Hovind's, and he wore matching Hawaiian shirts with Hovind when he was on there. That's how much of a fanboy of Dr. Dino that he is.
And they were both holding bananas, right?
Gross.
And then he did that, and then I think he might have made the movie before he made that statement. But either way, I don't remember the order of events. But he had a hard time getting anybody to talk to him after that. So you all know Ethan, the friendly neighborhood atheist.
Yep.
So he reaches out to Ethan, and he's like, "No atheist will talk to me. They won't give me the time of day." Ethan's like, that being the nice guy he is and always willing to engage, he sat down and interviewed with him. So he made another movie that just came out a few months back called The Atheist Religion. So when we saw the cut of it, me and Ethan and the other one of the co-hosts from The Perspective, Kenneth Leonard, another person you should subscribe to if you're not, we sat down and watched it and did a review of it. And we riffed on it like a Mystery Science Theater style, but I also included some science and provided some links to correct some of the misinformation that he was providing. So the review went all right, but I knew people weren't going to want to sit down and watch. For any of my audience that hadn't seen it yet, I knew that people weren't going to want to sit down and watch the whole thing. So I started cutting sections of it, because his movie is cut into sections too, and releasing them. So
Brainbug, real quick, because I know you have a train of thought there. The only reason I want to stop you is because you did a much better job of being correct and polite in that. But I do want to say, because Ethan, because I do appreciate Ethan and you and Kenneth. I even did on my own personal show, The Ozone. I did a review of that. I refuse to call it a movie or a documentary. That shit show. I did a review of it.
It's a meme. It's a
it's a hour and a half long meme because it is so poorly done. First, just quality wise, so poorly done.
Well, the drone shot's good. It had good drone shots.
If you say so. Okay.
Okay.
It was stock footage.
We can agree to disagree. But here's the thing: is when you can have whatever belief you want to have, and I'll go after the belief and never go after you. But as soon as you start taking people that like I'm building a relationship with, I'm building a friendship with, and like now this is my boy or my friend, and now you're going to try to make them look like a fool and try to make them look foolish, even when they're young in their atheism or whatever the stage of life they're in, and try to take advantage of that and try to gain clout or popularity or dollars off of humiliating somebody. Just know I'm always going to bully the bully. I'm always going to do that. So as soon as I saw that, and I saw Ethan having to defend himself when he was trying to put his neck out to try to help somebody, like he was trying to be helpful and be the good dude and be the good atheist. And this dude took advantage of it and then tried to smear him and make him look like an ass. I was like, nah, bro. Like I can't be quiet while you do that. So you guys did it, and I didn't. You know, Ethan did. He was like, man, I appreciate you doing that too on your channel and spreading more light on it. But that's what has to happen when little bullshit like that happens. We all have to stand up and say, whoa, no. That's not what time it is. This is what time it is. So I'm glad all of us were on the same page there. I'll shut up.
Not just us. There was a ton of other people that did a takedown of that bullshit.
At the end of the day, when you're trying to seek the truth and when you're trying to find truth or trying to demonstrate your truth, you got to do it honestly, earnestly. And if even on this show, when we have debates, right? If we think that the Christian gave a better argument, they gave the better argument. You win, you win. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, what position you hold. We're not here to say that we're right and everybody else is wrong or anything like that. We're here to find the truth.
Right.
Yeah. When you have to humiliate somebody or attempt to humiliate
or you chop shit up to make somebody look bad.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It goes back to the anybody that knows the Atheist Roundtable and knows my argument, you're going to be shocked when I say this. It goes back to Abraham and Isaac. When you have to shit on somebody that you love and care about, that's a human being, like you have to do that. You're out of line. You're out of line. It is now selfish. It's now self-seeking. And that's the only motivation, period. But Brian, now we've got to the point where all that kind of settled down, and then this little volcano started to erupt.
Right.
So where are we at now?
So he made this movie, and to reiterate, this thing was mostly just a rehash of the first movie. It was the same talking points, really heavy on the Columbine stuff. That was the focus of the first half of it. Yeah. So, but his only new argument was this attack on rafting dispersal for the way that species disperse across the planet, and these models that we have for how they arrive to the locations that they're in from the continents that their ancestors lived on. That was one of his main talking points. Of course, he reframed it as, we said the monkeys were surfing. Monkeys were surfing across the ocean, and that's not
liar, pants on fire.
What did they use? Surfboards or crafted platforms that they would surf on?
Steve, remind me. I'll get you the link. And it literally, the whole time I'm watching it, like part of me is laughing because I'm like, you cannot be this foolish, right?
They were hanging 10 and shit.
The other part of me is like this. You don't expect to get called out. Like you don't expect to get called out when you're being this blatant, like this blatantly disrespectful and like backhanded, like straight backhanded bullshit.
He might not be used to it.
Oh, no, he's
because
used to it. Oh, he's used to it.
oh
Well,
yeah,
so when I put out the first video I put out on this, he didn't say, I don't know, I don't think that he said anything on the review on Ethan's channel, but on my channel, he kind of came at me. He was like, this is, I saw that you're reviewing our movie. I would be willing to debate you on Noah's flood. I'm like, okay. So to be clear, you're wanting to debate because the topic of the movie was this rafting stuff. So you're wanting to debate whether whether the current scientific model or the Noachian flood model better explains the distribution of organisms on the planet. He said, no, let's talk about the Grand Canyon. Was his answer.
the thing that always gets me is how the fuck do you explain Australia
Right.
without the whole Pangea thing? I always just kind of pictured Noah taking his ark and then like taxiing all these things around to different areas, like just to make sure that everything's separate like that, and that you have totally separate, like evolutionary paths.
Right. And I even in our correspondence back and forth, because we talked back and forth for a little bit about doing a debate, and I'm like, because he was talking about, we'll debate whether the geology of the Grand Canyon is a result of and I'm like, you know what? We'll talk about geology, go have that debate with a geologist. But me and you need to talk about this rafting stuff that's happening in your movie. If you want to narrow it down to a single area, the Grand Canyon is not a good place because it's continental and it's been connected to different land masses at different points in time to both Asia and South America. So the fauna has not been stable. Even 6,000 years ago, what you would find in that region of the U.S. is very different than what's there now. I said, how about New Zealand? New Zealand, if anybody doesn't know, is isolated and has been isolated for 80 million years. That's a long time in isolation, and the fauna on the island reflects that. And the fossil record of the fauna on that island reflects that. So let's talk about that. I can still hear the crickets chirping because he has not corresponded with me since.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Which is fine. I'm like, okay, so he's backing down. He's decided, you know what? When I bring up this ecology stuff, people are going to call me on it. I don't know enough about it. And he said as much in his responses to me. He said, I don't think that my audience would be able to keep up with that topic, which is ridiculous.
And you're the pastor, so it's your fucking fault, dude.
Yeah.
It's your fucking fault.
You're not educating your sheep.
That is not. Let's just keep this plain and simple, Mr. Powell. That's not an us problem.
Right.
That's a you problem.
Yep.
And if you're the pastor, it's your responsibility to build, inform, educate, and equip your people. And how do I know that? Because I used to be somewhat in that position. That was my responsibility, and you're not doing it, or you would step up to the plate. But the other thing with that whole monkeys on the raft shit that they like all of a sudden have a problem with, like if you go and I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I like 99% of the time rely on just common sense, just common sense. I'm a high school dropout. I have no problem talking about it. I'll shout it from the mountaintop. But what I do know is I can read a fucking history book, and I can look back and say, okay, way back when, all these continents used to be much, 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 much closer together, right? And if there was a hurricane,
or 15,000 or 1,500 kilometers for the Atlantic, where this rafting event that we're talking about specifically in this movie took place. Just go ahead, Oz.
Yeah. So, and again, remember, Mr. Powell, that this is a high school dropout educating you right now. That it like back to like it could have been a hurricane or a tornado or something, and one of these monkeys or two of these little cool little fucking monkeys that everybody wants to be friends with got caught on some foliage or some tree limbs or whatever, and then just drifted. They didn't have to row your boat. They didn't have to mow your boat.
Current in
the current just took them to the goddamn island, and oop, what do we have?
Yeah.
Well,
And
it
to
was
clarify-
Jesus's gentle breeze that push them. Don't forget about that part.
Which is and that's the thing too, is you talk about how this it doesn't have anything to do with freaking evolution. This is not an evolutionary argument.
But Brian, am I wrong in that where all I have to do is go and simply research,
right? There's
like geography and what couldn't happen with storms, meteorology back then, and there could have been a storm or two storms or three storms that hit all at once and took this species of monkey or animal to this one that was much closer together then than it is now, and then we have an explanation rather than just saying creation.
Yeah, and we see this happening today. There's islands in the Caribbean that were populated by iguanas after that. Was it Andrew? I can't remember which hurricane it was, but they were populated by green iguanas that they'd never had an iguana population before. After a hurricane brought foliage mats across the Atlantic to their island. So this happens. We observe this happening in real time. It's a ridiculous argument, and it's a non sequitur for evolution, because whether it's true or not that these rafting events happen is not going to affect the evolutionary model whatsoever. It's just ridiculous. Nope. And I would have been fine if he was like, you know what, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But I popped by his channel last week, and because he did a piece like what he did there on Godless Engineer, on his debate with Maddox, where he disingenuously cut it to make John look to make GE look like an idiot. Yeah. Same situation, but interlaced among these videos were all these additional follow-up videos mocking these ecology models that he doesn't even that he claims that we can't understand, that his audience doesn't understand enough to talk about. It's like, dude, why are you still talking about it? So I put out a call out video to him. I was like, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say, so we talked about that. That's the easily visible stuff, all that popped off and all these people reviewing that. And he didn't. And Steve, just so you know, like they so mocked it, like ignorantly, like they literally showed, they found like humorous videos of like monkeys on rafts, like with rows, like
and like a cigar and a Mai Tai and shit.
And like, you know, like making fun of it. We're just like, I don't get, like, we all know we love satire, we love comedy, right. But here's the thing: is you're trying to use satire and comedy when you look like the ass. Like it's only funny because you're making yourself look worse because you have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Exactly.
So then for you, Brian, this is what we want to talk about tonight on your part. Then there's some stuff that started to bubble up or pop up here recently where he tried to call you out, and then as soon as you went all the way in, you're like, okay, well, this is actually what we're going to talk about. Then dude goes ghost. So
yeah,
tell us about that.
Well, yeah, that's essentially that. Yeah, he was like, okay, we're gonna debate. I want to debate you, and it's like, and then he suggested the Grand Canyon, and I said, no, that's not a good place to talk about this subject matter. And then total ghost.
And then he bounced.
Just silent. And we were talking in the comments on my video, but we were also emailing back and forth. And I reached out to him both by both techniques, and then also went to one of his channels, to one of his additional rafting videos, and was like, dude, you're still talking about it. Dude, I went through them and I commented on each one. I'm like, why are you still talking about this? Why are you still talking about this, man? You don't want to have this debate, then why are you still talking about it? Because he likes to talk to people who don't know don't know the subject matter, which is why when he was talking to me, he wanted to talk about geology. And then when he was talking to Mama Atheist over on Knox channel, who's an astrophysicist, he wanted to talk about evolution. And then when he was talking to Nathaniel from Divine Disbelief, who is an anthropologist, he wanted to talk about cosmology. He wants to talk about anything that the subject that the person he's engaging with knows about. It's sad. Dude, stop.
What drives me crazy about all this too is that, like, evolution has nothing to do with atheism. Not one little stitch.
Yeah.
It's just what science has found. It's just what science has found to be the most reasonable explanation for why things are the way that they are and why we have found the world in the way that we found it. So it has absolutely nothing to do with atheism. It has a lot to do with debunking God beliefs, or at least certain God beliefs.
I do want to say that there are orders of magnitude more theists that believe in evolution than there are atheists, because we are a minority of a minority.
Right. And you know, we can't necessarily say that God didn't start everything and then push things along and then evolution happened. You know, we don't have the evidence either way. It's non-falsifiable, right?
Right.
But to not accept evolution based on the evidence that we have in favor for a 6,000-year-old horse.
Based on old folklore.
Right. It's a little unbelievable.
No.
What? Now, I don't know how much do you, okay. What are your thoughts on our brain development and psilocybin mushrooms? Have you heard anything about this? It's been on my mind. I heard something about it recently.
Well, you know, I see Cafe around every now and then. He's always talking about hallucinogens, but I've only ever tried mushrooms once, and I was very young.
I'm talking evolutionary standpoint. When we were monkeys and shit, eating random stuff in the woods.
Oh, the stoned ape hypothesis. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. And how like the different neurons, it created more neurological pathways that we may not have created due to the psychedelics.
It's an interesting theory. I don't know that I've read enough on it to have an opinion about it, but I don't think it's got a lot of support. But it's an interesting thing to toy with, to conceptualize.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious as to what your thoughts were on that, because I recently found out about it myself, and I haven't done a whole lot of digging either. But I found it very intriguing. So
right. Yeah. Gutsick Gibbon did a video on it. If you get a chance to check that out, she does a lot of the same kind of thing I do with bugs, she does with primates. So
nice.
Yeah, so she's got a great channel over there talking about things like the stoned ape hypothesis. So I'm
gonna check
from my
out.
understanding on it, I don't know that it has a lot of support, but it's an interesting thought to explain our highly developed cognitive functions. But I think that our cognitive functions are more of a result of our sociology, of the way that we communicate, and that between that and the fact that we freed up our dexterous hands from being used for mobility, made us capable of manipulating our environment. And once you start to alter your environment, you have to take into consideration cause and effect. So once you start conceptualizing cause and effect, you can start doing things with intention, and then it just kind of grows from there.
Snowballs from there. Yeah.
Right.
No, and I had also heard that eating fish had a lot to do with developing the brains and the ability to communicate the way that we were able to communicate.
Yeah, and
which is also the theory with the psychologicals.
Yeah, fish and other proteins as well. I mean, having moving to a higher protein diet,
cooking, so you're processing some of that before your body has to.
Cooking went a long way for us freeing up space in our skulls, because we didn't need the robust jaws and that goes with meat and other food that we're going to be able to cook it, to break it down. Because basically when you're cooking something, it sounds gross to say it, but you're pre-digesting it. You're starting the process of what your stomach's going to do to it anyway. So when we were able to do that, we didn't need these robust jaws and large teeth to process our food before we swallowed it. Not so much. So we were able to free up the space in our skulls where our muscle attachments were, allow our brains to get bigger. So definitely that, plus the added protein to our diet from being able to eat more meat, to consume more meat, because we could preserve meat now that we're cooking it, because you could sun dry it, you could keep it for longer periods of time. You weren't just eating, at the kill site and then moving on, and taking those steps, all, in tangent. And I think that's a lot of the problem that people get when they conceptualize this stuff, is that they think about this stuff happening in succession. They don't think about these things happening in tandem, that this is happening at the same time. Right.
All the offshoots, all the branches. And then another largely overlooked thing is all the interbreeding that happened throughout this entire process.
Right.
It wasn't just a bunch of branches, and they all intermingled as well and created new breeds that were kind of like how we breed dogs.
Sometimes genetic drift, which is when a group gets isolated from the rest of the population, feeds back into itself. So they could branch off and evolve into a different branch. But if they move back into the environment where their ancestors were from, and they're still descendants from that population there, depending on how long they've been separated for and how much genetic drift they've experienced, whether they can merge back into that population or not. But that does create it creates diverse populations across the wide range of environments, which is why when we look at genetics, we see more of a spectrum than isolated groupings, which you would expect of something like a created kind, where you would have they'd all be able to interbreed. There would genetic drift doesn't make any sense at all in baraminology, in my opinion. Of course, any creationist out there who wants to present me a case that genetic drift makes any kind of sense at all in baraminology, bring it on. I'm ready to talk about that. That'd be so much fun.
All right, so Brian, before we sign off, so you set up a, I don't remember if it was backstage or up top. You talked about playing instruments and being a musician. Mm-hmm. What instruments do you play?
I play guitar, bass, banjo, mandolin, keyboard, harmonica, tin whistle, kind of accordion, and dobro, dulcimer. Most things with strings I can play. Okay,
so what we're gonna do, and I'm going to say this because I don't think he's watching right now, but I know you and I talk to him on a regular basis, and we can continue to get this message across to where hopefully he gets it. Eventually he gets it. So you're in Illinois, and I know our boy Ethan is in Illinois, and I'm just a very short jog away in northern Indiana. So all I need to do is find a drummer. Like, I play drums, but I can't drum and freestyle at the same time. But just let Ethan know there's going to be a day when COVID's over. He's going to have to pay the piper. Like, he keeps talking all that shit. He's going to have to pay the piper.
He's been asking for the heat. He wants that fire.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the episodes where he actually tells me that he wants to freestyle?
I saw the episode of TART Live that you did where you all were. It was towards the end where you all started talking smack to each other about,
Well, I left it alone because I was like, he's probably kidding, but then he kept bringing it up. I was like, oh, okay.
He's been on stage with Vanilla Ice, right?
That doesn't mean a
yeah.
to me.
I'm just messing with you.
I mean, I sat, like, I didn't actually freestyle with him, but I sat in a cipher with Wu-Tang for like 3 hours up in Detroit. If that means anything to my ability to freestyle, probably not.
Nah, they just like the cipher.
Yeah, and I just, for the record though, I can't. I can't. You won't get any kind of vocal music from me.
Well, no,
that's why I learned to play music, because I can't sing.
Well, that's what I said. If like you play guitar, even if we have a guitar and an amp, we have a nice little distortion on there. We get a good drummer. They can give us, even if it's like a Rage Against the Machine hip hop.
If you all are rapping, I'd rather play bass. I'm better at bass anyway. So
okay, cool. All right, give me. I don't care, bass or just a normal 6-string guitar with a little distortion, and really, I just need a kick drum, a snare, and a hi-hat. I don't even need nothing else. Just let me get it.
Just do an 8-string guitar, then you can cover all the bases there.
Right. I have a 5-string bass. I don't have I used to have a 7-string guitar. I don't anymore. My son's a musician too. He's actually his band's doing pretty good. They put out a music video, and they got another one coming out. So
awesome. That's awesome.
Passed on something to him. He loves playing music.
Give him music and insects, and he's good. What'd you say? Drugs? No, Steve. What are you talking about?
No, I said bugs.
Oh, I think you said drugs. It's like Jesus.
That doesn't represent TART or the Murdershed. Kill all you want, but no drugs.
What kind of show is this? Real quick, Dragons, I play drums, guitar, bass, a little piano, and I can make words rhyme.
Do you slap? So you play bass? Do you slap?
A little bit, but not really. But I love somebody that can actually do a proper slap. Yeah.
It's not an easy thing. I don't know. I'd probably have to get back up to a speed because I haven't played in so long. Part of the reason I stopped playing so much is because my hands started going out. But it's something. I have this whole collection of guitars and stuff, and they're sitting over there getting dust. So I'm collecting dust. So I'm so glad my son decided to pick up on it and start using them, so they didn't just sit there and waste away.
Yeah, one of the things as far as musically, I am grateful for the Atheist Roundtable is one I have got to get back into some of the music mode. Like I'm working on our new intro right now for the lyrics and everything, and it's like I until I got back into it, I forgot how much I loved writing. But not only that, now like Pasta kept telling me, he was like, "No, dude, you need to get on TikTok and like start freestyling. Like you're a beast, dude." And I started doing it again. I was like, I'm not a beast, but I do love it. Like I'm not any good at it, but I love doing it.
Well, let's definitely keep doing it though, man. It's like so I make on my channel, I do the counter apologetic stuff, but I also do like the bug videos and the rehousing and stuff. And yeah,
that's my brother. That's my little brother. Sorry, that's my little brother.
And they and the bug videos don't the rehousing and stuff don't get nearly as much views. Those are the videos I make for me. For my audience, I make the videos where I freaking point out bad apologetics and pseudoscience. But for me, it's I like doing the rehousings and stuff and engaging that way. So even if you're just doing it for you, if you freaking feel that love when you're doing these TikToks where you're freestyling, keep doing it, bro, because do the thing you love.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other part, like the comedy stuff that we do, and Pasta and I talk about this, offline, is like atheists. It's not just about attacking Christianity or attacking beliefs. It's that, like, we're still people. Like we still have hobbies. There's things we love to do. And I always love seeing and hearing about what people's passions are and their interests are and their hobbies are outside of the normal atheist Christian conversations. And that's why I love this episode with you tonight. We're talking about spiders and scorpions and centipedes, and you had a Mantis dancing on screen with us while we played music. It was like the Mantis was getting it.
Come on, you're embarrassing me here. Come on.
We're doing secular shit tonight.
And I think that's important. But Brian, I do appreciate what you said, and that's why I keep doing it on TikTok, even if I don't give a shit if anybody hits the like button or whatever. I do it because I love it. And I enjoy it.
Why Steve does his murder shedding, because he loves it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And real quick, my aunt Kathy. So I have my brother Kyle Mills here, and now I have my aunt Kathy just showed up. So this is now a family reunion. Brian, see what you did? You brought the whole damn family together, Brian. Congratulations.
Hi,
Kathy
Kathy.
said, "Can I ask a bug question?" Yes, Aunt Kathy, ask away. And Kyle said, "Let's go scorpions. Who wins, a black scorpion or a black widow?"
Like the superheroes?
I think a scorpion would win between the two of them.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's an easy one. Yep.
environment is key. A black widow is not really going to do too much or be too successful outside of its web against another arthropod. It would inside its web, it could take out a scorpion pretty easy, but put them in a closed arena, that's going to be a spider snack.
Spider snack.
Mm-hmm.
But Wittershed said, "If lyrics were a crime, I'd break all the laws."
You got more bars than the county clink.
So, are you pretty active on your TikTok?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I stay. It's either TART related, or every once in a while I'll see a crazy Christian claim that I have to address. But I don't even do it that often anymore on there. I stay away from it.
I love when you talk about Cat though. Crazy Cat. She is hilarious listening to some of the stuff she has.
Oh boy.
I joke that she just her grandkids left like Adventure Time playing in the background while she was sleeping, and she thought she was visiting heaven.
Yeah,
is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, it's well, and now it's gonna be even more funny because I actually have two family members listening to this when I say it. So, Kat Kerr, the crazy, I've been to heaven 1,000 times woman with the pink hair. So Kerr is my mom's side of the family. That's their maiden name, right? So I have my brother and my aunt from that side of the family on, and I don't know if it runs in the name because there's some craziness on that side of the family, and my aunt Kathy being one of the more she's probably the most reasonable ones, so to speak. But there's something there. But that's what every time I see Kat Kerr pop up on YouTube, I'm like, why did she have to have that last name? Of all the last names,
maybe she's a distant relative, Oz.
Yeah, that'd be great to find out. Maybe do like a 23andMe with Kat Kerr and Oz. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
so
find your last common ancestor.
I feel like I might be implicating myself if I take that DNA test.
So Aunt Kathy says, "Does the praying mantis have smell or vibration like sensors?"
So yes to both. The smell's a little different than what we have. They're more like chemoreceptors than scent glands, and they do feel vibrations. Arthropods don't have a sense of hearing. They generally audible vibrations. They feel them instead of hearing them. Mantises specifically are very visual animals, though. They actually have 5 eyes. It only looks like they have the 2 big ones, but they have in the middle there, they have an eye. It's almost just what you would call a photoreceptor cell almost. It's so simple, but it does detect shadow and motion.
This damn new microphone, I get used to that. And then my brother, Pastor Kyle, says, "Is there any
arthropod that threatens
yeah, there you go.
Hey,
There you
Oz,
go.
it's my job to mispronounce shit up in here, okay?
When they say black scorpion, I'm gonna infer that they mean like an emperor scorpion or a heteromenos, like the giant forest scorpion I have over here. They are pretty robust and formidable arthropods, but there are several species of terrestrial crabs and centipedes that would probably make quick work of them if they really had to.
And mongoose.
Yeah. But mongoose aren't arthropods.
And then, so I brought cat cur up, and my Aunt Kathy said it's the name only.
I don't know. We've got some other insight here that I think might be more reliable. Your brother says
And
she's
Kyle says
actually
she's Austin's third cousin. So I am Austin, for those that like, you know me as Oz. I'm Austin. Then Kyle, that would make it your third cousin.
correct. Oh yeah, he repented.
Yeah. Reeled it right back in.
What happened was no, good to see you here, Kyle, and Aunt Kathy, good to see you back.
Thanks for coming to see my bugs.
Yeah, and thanks for coming hang out with first Brian and Murdershed Steve and the Scorpion King, and then also the Tarantula and the Scorpion and the Millipede and the Mantis. And the Mantis loves to dance. The Mantis loves to dance.
If you didn't know that about mantises, that's one of their favorite things to do is to get down.
Yeah, when we were backstage at the beginning of the show, I thought he was fucking with me. I'm like, the bug's not gonna dance, bro. And then like the bug started the dance. I was like, oh, the bug dances, okay.
Yeah. They got to be in the right mood, but they have to know that you see them. Is kind of the thing. Right now, the mantis thinks I can't see it. It thinks I don't know it's there, and it's staying very still because it wants me to not know it's there, because most things my size would want to eat it. But
Steve, if Steve was there, he might eat it.
I am into your more conventional meats, like humans.
Like the long pig.
That's our Steve. All right. Well, before we wrap up, Brainbug, thank you so much tonight for hanging out with us, talking with us, and getting to meet your friends. And I know you said a couple times, I talk to people, or I talk to these like people talk to their dogs. They're still your pets.
Yeah.
Like you care about them. You love them. So now they're like friends of the Atheist Roundtable as well. So
Absolutely.
So thanks for bringing your friends on board and hanging out with us. And if anybody has kids, we for that portion of the show, we try to keep it pretty clean. If you want them to be able to see Brian hanging out with the bugs and talking about them, explaining them, do that. And then once we get into the adult content, then you can cut it off. But we did that so you can experience that and do that. But before we wrap up, one last time, Brainbug, tell everybody where they can find you, what's going on, and tell Matt Powell if he wants it, he can come get it.
Right. Yeah. You can find me on YouTube, Brainbug's Hive, and we pretty regular content. We release about 2 or 3 times a week. And we do a live stream on Saturday. Yeah, we're going to be talking about this coming Saturday. I believe I'm having my friend Junk Shop Library drop by for a visit, and we're going to talk about carnivorous plants, which are freaking awesome, and a marvel of evolution. Yeah, and Matt Powell, dude, stop talking about ecology if you don't want to talk about ecology, because if you're going to keep saying it, I'm going to keep calling you out, dude. And I'm going to keep making videos explaining why you're wrong. So stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt Powell, you don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke. And I got Brainbug's back.
Yeah. I just did the Michael Jordan meme there. Stop it. Get help.
And just Matt Powell, just know this. Brainbug's cool with the TART folks, and see when you're cool with the TART folks, there's a thing. There's a guy. Yeah, it's that Steve guy.
Hey,
You don't want them problems. No, I'm kidding. No, but Brian, we had fun with you. Appreciate you, man. Any last comments you want to make before we head off, man?
This week coming up, or I guess next week it would be. I'm going to be on Godless Grannies with Matt Dillahunty, Scientist
Nice.
Mel, and Katie Montgomery. That should be a freaking awesome show. It's
I
awesome
did see.
lineup.
Yeah, I saw that thumbnail. Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's about it. I just keep an eye on the hive because we always got all kinds of good stuff coming at you. So you never know.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man. And for everybody that's been with us tonight, we appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. The super chats. Thank you for the super chats. And I will throw it out one more time. If you want to be on an episode of Atheist Pizza, you can email Pasta Mike at thepastamike@gmail.com or myself at austin@tart.live, and we'll schedule it. We take care of gas. We buy the pizza. The only thing we're not going to do is pay your mortgage. We won't do that. But if you want to be a part, we want you to be a part of that. And either we'll, if it makes sense, we'll come to you, or we'll, drive or fly you to us if it makes sense. If you want to do that, and we'll make it happen, Captain. And last but not least, to my brother, my Aunt Kathy, thanks for coming in tonight. I appreciate that. I did not expect to see you guys in here, and I appreciate you guys being here to shout out and support, and a big shout out to Brainbug for whatever reason being the originator of the family reunion tonight. So, Murdershed Steve, thanks for hanging out, and we're out, y'all. Love you.
Woo!